Dear students, greetings for the day. Today we will discuss about fundamental weaves, their properties and types. Majority of the fabrics available in the market are produced by weaving process. Weaving is the process of making fabrics with a minimum of two sets of yarns, namely warp and weft. The ways in which the weft yarns are interlaced with the warp yarns change the appearance of the fabric and produce different designs that are woven into cloth. Weave is the mode of interlacement of filling with warp. All woven fabrics, irrespective of the designs present, are based on three ways of interlacing. Accordingly, the weaves are termed as basic or fundamental weaves. The three basic weaves are 1. Plain weave, 2. Twill weave, 3. Satin weave. These basic weaves can be made on the simple loom without any attachments. The woven designs to be produced are plotted on a graph paper to act as a guide to the weaver. This design is called as point paper design or weave diagram. This is the simplest of all weaves. It is sometimes referred as homespun or tabby weave. The interlacing is simple. The first filling yarn is passed over and under one warp yarn across the cloth, and the second filling yarn passes under and over warp yarns that it went over and under respectively in previous row. These two rows are repeated to get plain pattern and referred as 1-1 weave. Plain weave is the most inexpensive weave, as only two harnesses are used to produce the design. It is used extensively for cotton fabrics to make them inexpensive. Plain weave fabrics have no right and wrong sides unless they are printed or given any surface design. They are reversible materials with no definite design. Their uninteresting surface serves as a good background for printing and such other finishes that add design details to the material. As there are maximum interlacements per inch, the plain weave fabrics tend to wrinkle more, shrink less and less absorbent than other weaves. If the count of warp and filing is nearly same, it is a balanced material, and if it is not, it is unbalanced plain weave material. One. Fabrics of different count. 2. Yarns of different fiber content. 3. Yarns of different sizes. 4. Novelty or textured yarns. 5. Contrast colored yarns for warp and weft. X. Gingham. 6. High twist and low twist yarns. High twist yarns are used for crepe and georgette materials. 7. Filament or spun yarns. 8. Spacing of the yarn. 9. Different printed designs. 10. Different finishes. Two simple variations of plain weave produce interesting simple designs on materials. They are ribbon basket variations. Gingham, voile, lawn, cambric, calico, cheesecloth, chintz, muster sheeting, lawn, organdy, canvas, taffeta, organza, georgette, chiffon, seersucker, long cloth, shirting and dressing materials. A. Sheer lightweight fabrics, lawn, organdy, chiffon, georgette, cheesecloth, tissue gingham, voile, organza. B. Medium weight fabrics, print cloth, percale, calico, chintz, glazed chintz, suiting material, muslin, long cloth, shirting material, seersucker, gingham, taffeta. C. Suiting weight fabrics, cotton suiting material, casement, canvas, tweed, etc. When the diameter and number of yarns are varied in plain weave, it produces ribbed effects. These ribbed or corded effects are produced in the warp or filling by alternating fine yarns with coarse yarns or single yarns with doubled yarns. The warp and filling may have fine and coarse yarns to get varied effects. Many rib fabrics are produced by having heavy weft and a greater number of warps. Sometimes the warp yarns completely cover the thick filling yarns, thus producing heavy corded effects. Alteration of yarns at planned intervals produces crossbar effects in materials. Khadi suiting material and dimity are examples. Generally, the coarser yarns used for this ribbed effect are thick, given slack twist, and sometimes made of short staple fibers and or of inferior quality. The durability is doubtful as thick yarns exert more pressure on thin yarns and may slip over or cut adjacent finer yarns. To ensure durability, the finer yarns must overlap completely the rib yarns, and the difference in weight between the rib yarn and other yarns should not be too great. Ribbed fabrics are reversible unless printed or given a special finish. Slippage occurs in ribbed fabrics made with filament yarns and if the count is especially low. Poplin, taffeta, fail, dimity, corded madras shirting, khadi shirting material, Bengalin, ottoman, broadcloth, etc. This basket variation of plain weave resembles the familiar pattern of basket by using doubled yarns instead of single yarns, as in plain weave wherein one or more filling yarns are passed alternatively over and under two or more warp yarns. The most common basket weaves are 2x2, 3x3 or 4x4. But other combinations are also possible, such as 2x1, which is seen in popular Oxford shirting. In this combination, one filling yarn passes over and under two warp yarns. But the size and weight of the filling yarn will be more than the warp yarns to make it a balanced construction. The other variations in basket weave include 2x3, 3x2 or 5x3. The basket weave produces fabrics which are attractive and interesting from the design point of view. The weave is loose and permits slippage of yarns and stretches and hangs well. It may shrink easily in washing and it is difficult to sew. Interesting effects are produced by varying the color of the yarns in warp and weft. Fabrics in basket weave, Oxford shirting, matty cloth, acetate shark skin, etc. It is the second basic weave and stronger than the simple plain weave. It is characterized by diagonal lines formed by yarns that float on the surface. A float is that portion of a yarn that crosses over two or more yarns from the opposite direction. Twill weave is one in which each filling yarn floats across two or more warp yarns with a progression of interlacement by one to the right or left to form a distinct diagonal line or wale. For example, the first filling yarn passes over the first warp and under the second and third, and again over fourth warp yarn and under fifth and sixth, and so on. The second pick goes under the first warp and over the second warp and under the third and fourth, and so on. Thus it moves one to the right at the interlacement point, and this produces characteristic wales. Characteristics of twill weave fabrics. Twill weave fabrics are characterized by the presence of diagonal lines called wales. The twill weave is valued much for its strength, firmness and drapeability. Twill weave fabrics have right and wrong sides, as the floats appear on one side belong to warp and underside they are filling floats. This is seen clearly in fabrics like denim, where warp yarns are colored and weft yarns are white. Twill fabrics have no up and down. The direction of the diagonal lines also changes when reversed. Characteristics of twill weave fabrics. Sheer fabrics are rarely made in twill weave. Printing is seldom done, as twill weave fabrics have distinctive and attractive appearance. Twill weave differ from plain weave in the number of picks and ends needed to complete the design. The simplest twill uses 3 picks and 3 ends to complete the design. There are fewer interlacements in twill pattern than plain weave. This permits the free movement of the yarns, which helps in fabric softness, pliability and wrinkle recovery of the fabrics. Characteristics of twill weave fabrics. It can be possible to pack more number of yarns in little space, as interlacing points are few. This makes the fabric stronger, even though the interlacements are less than plain weaves. Twills tend to show soil less quickly than plain weave fabrics. Twill weave fabrics are costly than plain weave fabrics, as the technique of weaving is more complicated. Twills differ in prominence of the twill wales. The prominence may be increased by the use of long floats, combed yarns, ply yarns, hard twisted yarns and high count. Twill fabrics also differ in the direction of the wales. They are divided into 2 groups, namely right-hand twills and left-hand twills. If the wales run from right top to the left bottom, it is right-hand twill, and if the wales run from left top to right bottom, it is left-hand twill. Generally, cotton fabrics are left-hand twills and wool fabrics are right-hand twills. Twill fabrics are also varied according to the degree of angle of wales. The wale may be steep, regular or reclining. The degree of angle is changed by the number of yarns used for construction. The greater the difference between the number of warp and weft, the steeper the twill line will be. If the angle is more than 450, the twill is steep. The steep twill has more warp yarns and thus it is stronger in warp. If the angle is 450, it is termed as regular twill, which is most suitable one. In these the count will be medium. In low count materials, the angle will be less than 450 and so they are termed as reclined twills. Twills are also termed as even twills and uneven twills. Even twills have the same number of warp and filling yarns on both sides as the filling yarn goes over and under even number of warp yarns, and so they are reversible. In uneven twill fabrics, the filling yarn goes over and under uneven number of yarns. If the filling passes under more number of warp yarns than over, fabric is said to be warp-faced as more number of warp yarns are seen on the surface. Filling-faced twills appear when the filling yarn passes over more number of warp yarns than it goes under. These uneven twills are never reversible. Twills are also termed as even twills and uneven twills. Even twills have the same number of warp and filling yarns on both sides as the filling yarn goes over and under even number of warp yarns, and so they are reversible. In uneven twill fabrics, the filling yarn goes over and under uneven number of yarns. If the filling passes under more number of warp yarns than over, fabric is said to be warp-faced as more number of warp yarns are seen on the surface. Filling-faced twills appear when the filling yarn passes over more number of warp yarns than it goes under. These uneven twills are never reversible. This is the third basic weave and is valued for its luster and smoothness. It is similar to twill weave, but it has long floats and the diagonals are purposely interrupted. In satin weave, each warp yarn floats over 4 or more filling yarns with a progression of interlacing by 2 or more to the right or to the left. As the progression is more than 1, the diagonal lines will not appear. This results in uninterrupted long floats that produce luster. Satin fabrics characterized by luster and smoothness. Long floats and less interlacements in satin fabrics permit more closer weave. It is possible to pack more number of yarns in less space to produce high count fabrics. Satin fabrics have right and wrong sides. A high thread count gives them strength, durability, body, firmness, wind repellency, and fewer interlacements help in pliability and wrinkle recovery. Low count fabrics are not durable and are less lustrous. All satin materials show the problem of slippage as few interlacements are present. Variations in satin fabrics. When the floats are formed by warp yarns, the fabric is stronger and more lustrous and is termed as satin fabric. If the floats are formed by weft or filling yarns, the fabric is less strong and less lustrous and termed as sateen. Sateen weave is said to be a variation of satin weave. It is made of generally spun yarns with less twist. Sateen fabrics are divided as warp sateens and filling sateens. Warp sateens are cotton satins in which warp floats are present. These are stronger and less lustrous than filling sateens. The filling sateens are often mercerized and shrinerized to make them lustrous. Fabrics in satin weave: rayon satin, silk satin, nylon satin, Siam satin, damask, cotton sateen, etc. All other weaves used for producing fancy and figured effects are based on these three basic or fundamentals weaves. One of these weaves is used as a background weave for all such materials. The simple loom which is used for fundamental weaves does not serve the purpose, and therefore, looms with elaborate attachments are used to produce luxurious velvets, elaborately woven jacquards with all-over designs, simple small geometric designs, cobwebby lace effects, etc.